Today we are making broccoli and cheese hand pies. Today we're making broccoli and cheese hand pies in honor of Pi Day 3.14159, in other words, March 14th. I have a skillet over medium heat heating up right now with about a tablespoon of oil. I'm taking a yellow onion and dicing it. My oven is also preheated to 375 degrees. And in a minute, I'm going to be getting out a large baking sheet and aligning that so it's ready when we're ready to bake our hand pies. So our onion, I'm gonna toss it into our pan for about 5 minutes until they soften. I'm going to get out a mixing bowl because we need to grate some broccoli. Now, the recipe says 1 crown of broccoli grated. 1 crown of broccoli can range from small to large, and I think I'm on the larger side. So we're just gonna go with it and see how it goes. The author of this recipe, and I'll be sure to link her website down below with this recipe, she grates her broccoli in a food processor. So I'm going to get out my baby food processor and do it that way because I can't imagine taking broccoli to my cheese grater. Just sounds messy. So I'm gonna have to work in batches because I have a teeny tiny food processor. So yes, this could get quite messy. You just want to stop before it turns into a puree. And don't forget about your onions. I suppose you could chop your broccoli really small if you want more of a chunkier texture. I personally don't, so that's why I am food processing mine. If your broccoli is taking a while for you to grate or chop, however you decide to do it, you can go ahead and turn your onions off until you're ready because we need to add the broccoli to the skillet for a little while, along with our garlic. It would be even better to process your broccoli ahead of time. I'm considering maybe doing one more really big floret. I think I may have just accidentally wiped my clove of garlic that I had out into the garbage. But fret not, I have plenty more. So this recipe calls for 1 clove minced, but if you want more garlic, don't let your dreams be dreams. Add as much as you would like. You can absolutely press your garlic clove or cloves or mince it with a knife. I just prefer to grate mine using a microplane. Anything you guys see me use here today, I'll link it down below, and if it's not the exact same equipment, it'll be pretty darn close. Okay, I'm going to turn my heat back up to medium, and to our onions that are now soft, we're going to add our grated broccoli and garlic, and we're going to cook it for 2 to 3 minutes. Again, I'm keeping mine over medium heat until the broccoli is crisp and tender. In the meantime, I'm gonna start getting my dough out. So the author of this recipe has us using prepackaged pie crust, which is great. And I went to Aldi thinking they should have pie crust, and I've never purchased pie crust from Aldi before. So I was wrong, they did not have pie crust, but we got crescent roll dough, and you know what? It's going to be just fine. I don't have a rolling pin, and I used to have a wine bottle rolling pin, but I think I accidentally put it in the recycling. So if you are going to be using pie crust, you're going to cut out 3 to 4 inch rounds out of the dough. They're supposed to make about 24 little hand pies in total. So we have 16 here. I have less crescent roll dough than our author had for her pie crust, but we are just going to roll with it. And because crescent roll dough is shaped kind of funky, I am going to roll each piece into a ball. Now, if you're going to use pie crust, you won't have to do this at all. And then I'm just gonna let them hang out a little bit because since I worked with the dough, it's not gonna wanna spread out right away. The gluten needs to relax a little bit. But then I will just press them out into a round with my palm and we'll get cooking. Again, don't forget about your broccoli. Give it a stir. It only needs 2 to 3 minutes. And something you're gonna look for in your broccoli, you can just do 2 to 3 minutes. The green is really gonna pop. With using the crescent roll dough, the main difference is your pocket, your pie pocket, is going to be more soft and flaky versus crispy and flaky. So if you prefer one texture over the other, you can go ahead and do that. And if her recipe made 24 pockets, maybe you need 3 rolls of crescent roll dough, but you know what? If it's delicious and I have leftover filling, I'll find a way to use it. I'm going to remove our onion broccoli mixture from the stove, and we have a couple more ingredients to add to this. So first up is shredded cheddar cheese. I'm using sharp cheddar, 1/3 cup, 2/3 cup, 1 cup of cheddar cheese, and then the recipe calls for 1/4 cup of sour cream. And I was reading down in the comments and one individual said they used Greek yogurt. So I had Greek yogurt at home. I use full fat. It's more satisfying with the fat. If you're trying to replicate the cream cheese flavor, I would recommend full fat, but I'm sure low fat or non-fat will work just as well. Your flavor will just be a little bit different. Again, if you want your broccoli hand pies to be cheesier, by all means, add more cheese. Okay, once you have that all mixed together, let's get out our lined pan. You can use parchment, foil. I have a silicone liner here. Now, we did not add any salt or pepper to this, so I'm gonna give it a taste test. We're gonna have a little bit of salt in our crescent roll dough, but you don't want it to be under-seasoned. I'm gonna add just a little bit of salt and pepper. And the recipe did not call for salt and pepper, so that seems pretty good to me. And I might sprinkle the top of our hand pies with a little bit of salt, or maybe I'll finish them with a little bit of salt. So we are told to add about a tablespoon of filling to our little pies, little hand pies. So right here I have my number 50 cookie scoop. I have a 2 teaspoon cookie scoop, and then I have one bigger than this, so we're just gonna go with this. And that seems like a lot, so I might need to give my dough a little bit more of a stretch. You just don't want to tear it because you don't want your filling to leak out, to bust out. And then if you can prevent the mixture from touching the very edge so that you can press the seam together, there you have your little hand pie. It kind of looks like a dumpling. And then just keep going until you run out of filling or you run out of dough. So I definitely needed 3 packages of crescent roll dough. Again, if you're using pie crust, it'll be fine. You need two sheets of it. Now we're going to take an egg wash and brush these little hand pies. And I know eggs are expensive in these days of 2025. You can use melted butter I think that would be delicious. This is just going to help them get nice and golden, maybe a little bit of a nice little crust on them. I definitely recommend you getting a brush. I've lived without a pastry brush for many years, and a spoon just doesn't, it's not quite as efficient. Sometimes you get a little bit of too much egg that you're trying to wash and you end up with some scrambled egg on your pan, and it's just not it. And I am going to top these with a little bit of salt. If you wanted, you could put some herbs on top, some other spice that you think might go well with cheddar and broccoli. I don't know, let me know down in the comments what herb or spice you might put on top of your egg wash or your butter. Be sure to save the rest of that egg wash for your breakfast tomorrow. I think a flaky Maldon salt would be great on top of these. And then we're gonna pop these into our oven for 20 to 22 minutes or until they're golden brown. 20 minutes, look at these beauties. You can see some of them popped open, some of the dough popped open, but they didn't spill out, which I'm grateful for. I'm gonna let these sit for about 5 minutes before we give them a taste test. Now, I know I said these would be perfect for Pie Day. However, I think they would also be a great appetizer or side for St. Patrick's Day. 2 birds with 1 stone. As you can tell, I've already had a few and I have thoughts. So I made mine with crescent roll dough. I would recommend doing pie dough, pie crust, because I would like that crunch on the outside to contrast with the soft filling. And I would like a little bit more salt on the outside. The garlic flavor I did use a large clove, that came through nicely. And I think I did use more broccoli than the author of the recipe intended, because it's very broccoli heavy and I want more cheese. I want more of a balance. So I'm gonna look to see in the comments if anyone mentioned a volume of how much broccoli they used, because 1 crown of broccoli is very general. You can have small crowns and you can have large crowns. Mine was almost 1.5 pounds and I didn't even use it all. One final thought is what would be delicious is, and would be perfect for St. Patrick's Day, would be a beer cheese dip, like a little fondue, like a Guinness beer cheese dip. That would be so good with these, how these are right now, because these ones are so broccoli heavy. Either way, if you would give these a try, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up. Be sure to subscribe for more recipes. And if you'd like another appetizer idea, go ahead, click right here on screen, and I'll see you guys there.